Jason Swain, touchdown.
It's time for the Swain Event with your host, Jason Swain.
My man.
Real sports talk for the real sports fan.
All you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him.
It's time for the Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue.
Give me 2 laps and a Ric Flair.
20 Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. What a day. What a day to be with you this morning. We're glad that you are with us. Ben McKee, Go Vols 247 from Omaha, Nebraska. I am Jason Swain, live from the Low T Center studio. Oh, Ben McKee, we get another day. We get another day, another opportunity. Well, for you get another opportunity to cover Tennessee, watch college baseball live in person. It's been fabulous watching you on TV, Ben. Good morning. How you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Let me clear my throat. I'm doing well. I'm trying to thrive and survive, but this is the best time of the year, one of the best times of the year, I should say. But I'm doing well. Trying to figure out what day it is, where I am. I think this is like the fourth or fifth different location I've done the Swain Event in the last 2 weeks. So don't really know where I am or who I am at this point, but I'm doing well. Yesterday was a whole lot of fun, and tonight should be a lot of the same.
You are Ben McKee. You are father of Knox McKee, husband of Savannah McKee, co-host of the Swain Event. You cover Tennessee for Go Vols 247. You are a Grizzlies fan, a Yankees fan, a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Speaking of that, we did a remote on Friday. And the gentleman who owns the business is a childhood friend of your mom from West Tennessee. How about that, man? Small world.
Really? That is a small world.
Yes.
Did you reach out to my mom and tell her this?
No, your mom reached out to me, and I guess she heard the show on Friday. She's like, "Hey, that's a childhood friend of mine." And I was like, "What? Get out of here!" And childhood friend, also a big time Steelers fan. So that was an interesting conversation. All right, guys, we here. we here with a win in the College World Series. I won't say I was afraid, but I really wanted Tony Vitello to get a win in the College World Series based on what happened 2 years ago, not winning, based on history, Tennessee baseball just not being successful there in Omaha. But that was erased yesterday with another come-from-behind victory in the postseason. I was nervous, man. It was 4-0. No food in the house. We over here just trying to piece two things together that don't match for breakfast and lunch and dinner. It was time to go grocery shopping. I was like, you know what? It's 4-0. I'm going to the grocery store. And I saw a gentleman tap me on the shoulder, like, you too? You came to the grocery store after the Vols went down 4-0? I was like, yeah. But I was still watching on my phone. And I blinked, and then boom, Tennessee tied things up. So, again, Ben, this team was able to rally back from being behind not just one run or two, but four, and then win.
Yeah, yesterday was pretty incredible, a pretty incredible turnaround, and a lot of people deserve a lot of credit. And unfortunately, things did not go well for Chase Dolander. I feel really bad for Chase Dolander.
Yeah.
I know how much this means to him. He is an absolute great dude. He puts in a ton of work, and I feel for him that he wasn't able to take advantage of his moment in the College World Series. But, hey, he threw 58 pitches, and his teammates picked him up, and if Tennessee is going to make it to the championship finals, they're going to need Chase Stolander at some point this week on Wednesday or Thursday, probably Thursday, to get them a couple of outs. But Chase Burns came in and changed the game, and Will Heflin and I were kind of texting off to the side and could tell that Dolander just simply didn't have it, could not locate that slider or land the slider to give the hitter something to think about. And it looked like he was struggling with his fastball command as well. He just didn't have it. And Tennessee needed to make a change. And everybody on social media was freaking out. Why are we leaving Chase Dolander in and this and that? It's like, folks, yes, Tennessee has the greatest pitching depth, as much pitching depth as anybody in the country, but you can't just continue to go to them in the second, third, and fourth inning every outing. At some point, that depth is going to run out. You kind of got to manage things and squeeze as much juice out of the lemon as you can before you do tap into that depth. So it's kind of walking a fine balance, a fine line of utilizing that pitching depth, but also not overusing the pitching depth as well. So I think that's why you saw Chase Stolander maybe go back out there for the fourth inning. But pitching aside, Swain, we talked, I guess it was last Tuesday and Thursday, about how infectious Chase Burns' energy was on the mound last week at Southern Miss.
Yep.
And just how it uplifts his teammates. I thought they needed his energy more than what he was actually going to provide from just a simple pitching standpoint. And the energy, because Tennessee did go down 4-0 early, it had squandered some early chances to score. It felt like Tennessee was going home there in that third inning or so. And Chase Burns comes in and he flips the energy of the game. Tennessee, they had been hitting Quinn Matthews pretty well there the first couple of innings, just didn't have anything to show for it. And then they finally started to get some big-time hits, Jared Dickey, Christian Moore, and the tide changed, and Chase Burns went on to throw a historic outing at Omaha. And I know I'm a little long-winded here, but I was nerding out yesterday after the game, and I wrote a story late last night that is up on GoVosh 24/7 right now. I'll share the link here in a couple of minutes on my Twitter. But Chase Burns is predominantly a fastball slider guy. He obviously has other pitches he can throw, changeup, curveball, but he consistently is really, really on with the fastball and slider. That's typically what you see when Chase Burns is on. But yesterday, that was a completely different pitcher than the one that we've seen the last month and a half, because bullpen guys are typically a two-pitch mix, and starters, they're more of a starter because they can throw multiple pitches consistently, land them for strikes, get outs on them. And he had all four pitches working with him yesterday. The fastball wasn't 101, 102 consistently. He got up to 101 once, I know I saw, but the fastball was still playing up, still looked good. The slider looked good, as it always does. But that Stanford lineup is ridiculous. They hit for power, they hit for average, and he was kind of able to keep them in check because he found his changeup and his curveball. And the way he did it was really, really cool. If you're watching, you saw him talking to Seth Halverson in the dugout, and that's when I nerded out after the game. And I'd grabbed Seth Halverson, I'd grabbed Cal Stark, I'd grabbed Chase Burns off to the side and was trying to talk to them about that moment, or did talk to them about that moment. And I thought it's funny. Seth Halverson said he was kind of being just a little superstitious because he was standing at the front of the rail at the beginning of the game in the dugout. And obviously Tennessee was losing and went down. So baseball players, being weird, superstitious people that they are, he had kind of moved spots in the dugout, and Tennessee started to do well. So he didn't move from that spot, and it happened to be kind of near Chase Burns. And out of nowhere, Chase Burns asked Seth Halverson for some tips on his changeup and how he grips it and how he releases it, because Chase said that he wanted to throw a lot of changeups against Stanford, but in his warm-up pitches, he wasn't getting the changeup down because changeups have that downward break. He wasn't able to get it down in his warm-up pitches, so he was trying to fix something on the fly. And Seth Halverson showed him his grip, where he has 3 fingers on the seams,
okay,
and then another finger on the bottom. and Burns took Halverson's changeup grip out there and ran with it and was really, really good the rest of the way with the changeup. So I was fascinated by that. And then also, Chase Burns throws his curveball 4% of the time. And out of nowhere, he flips up there a filthy 83 mile an hour breaking ball in the 7th or 8th inning. And I asked Cal Stark, like, where that came from. Because, again, he's predominantly fastball slider. And he said that in the 7th or 8th inning, Burns was shaking off of all of the pitches that Stark was putting down, and he finally went to the curveball, and he's like, yeah, let's throw that. And he flipped it up there, and it worked. And from that point on, it was just, like, filthy. And when Chase Burns has 4 pitches like that going,
it's a wrap.
Like, you can't hit him. You cannot hit Chase Burns, just like you saw yesterday afternoon. And this is more of an offseason question. But if he can develop more into or back into a starter, and he has that changeup curveball to go along with the fastball and slider, he will be the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 MLB draft.
Ooh. So you mentioned squeezing juice out of the lemon. I prefer orange for obvious reasons, but Chase Dollander, you mentioned him getting bruised up a little bit early in the game. And you addressed some of the comments out there, I'm assuming, that those folks wanted to get him out a lot earlier. And you were like, no, you don't want to go to your bullpen too early because you can burn out that depth, even though it is a do or die game here for Tennessee, elimination game. But I thought about the super regional game against Southern Miss where Tennessee was down 4 runs. Southern Miss scored 4 runs in the 3rd inning, and Tennessee came back in the 4th, scored 6, but you allowed Chase Dollander to kind of make his way through that rough patch. And sometimes you have to let players do that. Football, maybe it's the quarterback that is a little out of control, start the game, throwing high passes or even an interception, or basketball, guys missing shots early. But sometimes you got to let that player work through their little slump or work through their little rough patch. And it worked for Chase Dollander against Southern Miss. He's earned that right to be able to get that opportunity. But that's why you have teammates, man. That's why you have really good players around you, because you're not going to be on every day. Like human beings, we're not on every single day. We don't have perfect days every single day. Every day is different. And so when it's not your day, that's why it's great to have a community. It's great to have a circle, people that can pick you up when you're not having a great day. And in this example, Chase had Jordan and the bats came ready to play because Tennessee got over 10 hits. And man, it was just good. It was cool to see, man. It was so cool to see. So happy for these players, this program. And I feel like we're in a really, 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 really good spot now, Ben, as we get ready to face LSU. And we come back from break, man, let's break down that matchup between Tennessee and LSU, the advantages that Tennessee may have now that Tennessee didn't have 3 days ago when Tennessee played LSU on Saturday. And watching the game, it felt hopeless as a Tennessee fan watching our chances versus LSU, but it feels a whole lot different right now for Tennessee. Ben McKee is live there in Omaha, whispering and whatnot. 865-255.
I'm not whispering. I'm making all sorts of noise. I'm in the hotel lobby. I'm in some cubby, and I'm letting everybody know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I love it. I was wondering what kind of background was that. I was like, man, what's that, the Looney Tunes background?
Yeah, they've got some cool little cubbies tucked off to the side that I found myself in. But hey, I love the Looney Tunes, so I'll take the Looney Tune, Ben. And I am a little cuckoo in the head, cuckoo for Cocoa Puff. So
you're right about that.
It's fitting.
All right, we'll take a brief timeout. LSU, Tennessee. Woo! Quick turnaround for Tennessee. in position to capitalize. We'll discuss when we come back. Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue.
The Swain Event is brought to you by Top 100 Barbecue Restaurant, Dead End Barbecue. Check them out online at deadendbbq.com.
Good morning, Swain Event family. Take a deep breath in and release. We're all back together in the AM and life is good. If you have real estate needs, just give me a call, Jennifer Morris, at 865-257-7897 or email me at jennifermorris865@gmail.com. And go Vols.
When you are craving some quality barbecue, there's only one place to go. Dead End Barbecue. Dead End Barbecue has been featured on ESPN's Taste of the Town, the first barbecue restaurant on the SEC Network, CBS Sports, Headline News Tailgate Show, Amazon Prime's The Restaurant Comeback, Food Paradise, and named one of the top 100 barbecue restaurants in America. The search is over. Dead End Barbecue is located on 3621 Sutherland Avenue right here in Knoxville. You can even have it delivered right to your door through Chow Now. Visit their website at deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
Guys, let me talk to you here. If you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments for just $155 a month cash pay, or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near a Low T Center or you need the convenience of an at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started on treatment. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare. All right, Swain Event and SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. And we missed you a couple days ago, Ben. We missed you. You're probably going to be mad when I tell you this, but you probably won't be. You're going to be all right. You're a big boy. You were busy anyways, but you know the Chris Lofton documentary will be dropping at the beginning of the year during basketball season on SEC Network as part of the SEC Storied series. And there's been a lot of filming going on. I did my part a couple weeks ago, and Chris came into Knoxville to do some of his part around the basketball arena and there on the floor. And he's like, let's go Dead End Barbecue. So Chris Lofton, myself, Chris Lowe, went to Dead End Barbecue a couple days ago, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, Ben. You were busy, man. You were busy. Somebody had to go.
No, it's all good. I know, you know, you're the Knoxville Steve Harvey. Chris Lowe is hanging out with Dabo and Nick Saban at children's football camps and you know, Hollywood in his own rights. I guess he's the white Steve Harvey of Knoxville. If you're the Steve Harvey of Knoxville, and then Chris Lofton's the greatest college basketball player of all time. Yeah, I said it. Chris Lofton, the GOAT. So I mean, you know, there's tiers of celebrities, and I'm far away from a celebrity status, and I'm far away from that tier of 3. So, I mean, I that's not my group. That's not the guys that I need to be hanging with. It's kind of like an ugly fella hanging around good-looking dudes. You can't. You got to separate yourself if you want to find the honey. So,
yeah, you're right about that. You got to find your however. It's what Biggie Smalls will say. All right, let's get to the phones right quick. LSU, Tennessee matchup. I'm looking forward to this one. I feel a whole lot better about this one than I did on Saturday, but let's get to the phones first, and let's see who we have here with us this morning. Good morning. Who we have with us?
Hey, it's me.
What's up, Turkey Man?
Hey, buddy. Hey, I'm going to ask a couple questions real fast and get off. First of all, I want to say how proud I am that the small ball game showed up for our Vols. I enjoy the long ball, but I enjoy putting the ball in play and making the defense have to work at it. And that more frustrating than anything when you get 10, 12 hits like they did. And I was excited to see that. Also, I was going to ask about the pitching. Who will we use tonight, 1 through 3, if we have to go 3 deep? Ben, in your opinion, and who will we face from LSU 1 through 3 if that has to happen for them? And I'm gonna get out. And why ain't we wearing that white jersey, that white uniform? I don't know about that. I'll let you go, guys. I'll listen.
What white uniform?
I guess the home uniform or the cream uniform. Well, Tennessee's been the road team these first 2 games, so that is the answer to that question. And again, we talked about baseball players being superstitious early or a little stitious. Tony Vitello is going to stick to what's working. That's why you saw them wear black 3 straight games in Clemson, and he only switched it up when they lost to Southern Miss in game 1 in Hattiesburg. So they're the home team tonight. Maybe we'll see them in white. I think they should be wearing orange at the World Series.
Cream. I got my cream jersey on.
It is Drew Beam Day.
That's right.
Drew Beam Day. And he typically pitches in the cream unis, especially when he pitches at home. So it'll be Drew Beam, Turkey Man, and then I imagine it'll be some form of Camden Sewell and Seth Alverson. I think those are your top bullets in the chamber after Drew Beam. And, I mean, you have some others that can chip in as well. And Aaron Combs, who's looked really good in his last 2 appearances, coming in and more of a matchup guy of late, but against Southern Miss and against LSU the other night, comes in and gets a strikeout in a big situation. So you've got him as well in the chamber. You've got A.J. Russell, the freshman who got some outs against LSU on Saturday. You're in a really good position. Kirby can come in and get you an out if need be. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody else as well. Tennessee just has a ridiculous amount of pitching depth. But, I mean, the main guys are Drew Beam, Camden Sewell, and Seth Alverson. I think in an ideal world, Beam gives you 5-6 really strong innings. Halverson comes in, gives you a strong inning or 2, and then you let Camden Sewell close it out and send you to the Final Four, essentially, because if you win tonight, it'll be Tennessee, Wake Forest, and then Oral Roberts and TCU. They are playing early today, and the loser of that game goes home, and the winner faces Florida. So playing the Final Four in a sense this evening, which is really, really cool. But it'll be Drew Beam, Seth Halverson, and Camden Sewell, I would think, in some capacity.
Tennessee versus LSU this year is taking 3 L's once in the World Series. Tennessee was able to beat LSU once earlier in the season at LSU by 7 runs. And you look at LSU's matchup versus Wake Forest, and LSU really used some arms. Paul Skeens threw 123 pitches versus us, so don't look like we're going to see him. But I know Tennessee fans have this complex, this battered ball syndrome, so you kind of expect to see him and
he's not pitching today,
and see him come out there and pitch like he did the other day, but he's not pitching today.
0% chance.
Yeah, he's not pitching.
0% chance.
He's not pitching today. But Thatcher Hurd pitched against Wake Forest. He's a guy that has been in their rotation, and so LSU, when you compare their arms versus Tennessee arms, Ben, Tennessee has the advantage, right?
A big advantage, absolutely huge advantage. LSU's pitching staff has been a question mark all season because Paul Skeens can only pitch 1 game of the weekend, and that guy is about to be the number 1, number 2 pick in the draft, and is about to be a very, very wealthy man, even more of a wealthy man than he already is. But they've had question marks all year long coming into the season. You kind of heard about Thatcher Hurd UCLA transfer, and Ty Floyd, and it's been a roller coaster for those guys, very similar to how it's been a roller coaster for Chase Burns and Chase Dolander this season. But even they've had more struggles than Tennessee's Chases, and those are kind of the top three guys. It's kind of Paul Skeens and then those two, Floyd and Hurd. At least that's how it was kind of discussed prior to the season, and they've had a couple of injuries as well. And they've had a couple of nice bullpen arms that have emerged. Not a lot like Tennessee, but like two or three. And I'll mention their names here in just a second. But just generically speaking, LSU's three best bullets have been fired because they kind of went all out to win last night against Wake Forest, which makes sense because if you win that game, then you're in the winner's bracket. You have to beat Wake or Tennessee once. You have today off. Like you would have been sitting pretty. But Paul Skeens, zero chance he pitches today. And for some reason, there's these rumors going around that there's a pitch count rule in college baseball. There's no pitch count rule in college baseball.
Gotcha.
We just saw Quinn Matthews throw 156 pitches and pitch the next weekend. Obviously, there's no pitch count rule. But, Paul Skeens threw 97 pitches, or sorry, that's LSU Wake Forest. Paul Skeens threw 120 pitches, I believe it was, against Tennessee the other night, 123.
Yeah, 23.
He would probably come back and pitch Thursday if LSU makes it to Thursday. But I assure you, with as much money as that arm is valuable, LSU is not putting him in a position to potentially get hurt. LSU would never hear the end of it if Paul Skeens ran out there today on 2 days rest after throwing 123 pitches and got hurt. That would be horrible recruiting wise for Jay Johnson. So there's a 0% chance. There's a better chance that I pitch for LSU tonight than Paul Skeens, which I could probably get my changeup over the middle of the plate, but Jared Dickey's also probably hammering it into the bullpen if I can get it over the plate. So, Paul Skeens isn't pitching today. And then they used Ty Floyd and Thatcher Hurd last night. Ty Floyd threw 97 pitches. Thatcher Hurd threw 65 pitches. Those two guys are not going to be available. And so it really boils down to a couple of bullpen arms for them. I think Riley Cooper will probably start. That seemed to be the thought by one of the LSU writers in the press box last night. And Riley Cooper's had an up and down season, but he's a pretty talented arm who just hasn't been consistent. He's the one that closed out the game, the bigger guy that closed out the game against Tennessee on Saturday night through 22 pitches. So Tennessee will see him at some point, whether it's to start the game or later on. Gavin Guidry, who Hunter Inslee hit the home run off of the other night, he's been really, really good as a freshman this season for LSU. And they got some other guys like the Herring kid, and Ackenhauser has come in and pitched here and there. But, I mean, that's kind of their three or four best arms out of the bullpen. And, like, to compare it to Tennessee's bullpen, and those arms that I just mentioned are good, Swain. I'm not saying they're not good.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't be getting a ton of innings for Tennessee. They'd be behind Halverson, Sewell, and Burns and Combs probably, or maybe right there next to Combs. So, LSU's lineup is going to be really, really hard to tame. Drew Beam, Camden Sewell, Seth Halverson, Tennessee's pitching staff has its work cut out for them. But, I mean, it would be very, very disappointing, in my opinion, if Tennessee's offense is not able to take advantage of LSU's pitching situation. I think they are primed for success. Tennessee's offense is. And as long as LSU's offense doesn't just go absolutely berserk and have like an all-time night, I feel really good about Tennessee's chances tonight.
Let me ask you this, Ben. You ever pitch in high school?
Yes.
How many pitches would you say was the most you've thrown?
80, 90, 100.
How long does it take you to recover?
Well, I was a high school scrub, and
Well, I
do not
mean,
have the sports
still
medicine that
throwing
these
80.
guys have.
Still throwing 80 pitches. And I understand the recovery time is probably quicker for these guys because, like you just mentioned, the resources. But
A couple days for sure.
okay,
Typically, like ideally, it's a 5-day recovery, and that's for major league pitchers as well. You think about it. I mean, Drew Beam's pitching game 3 of every weekend, so that's Saturday or Sunday every week. So he's pitching once a week. So even he is not coming back on 5 days rest. He could, but that's just obviously not how the college baseball schedule works. And everybody's kind of different, but typically you'd like to get them at this point in the season in the tournament. You'd like them to have a starter that is 4 or 5 days rest. If you could swing it, you're not bringing a guy back on 2 days rest that started like a Paul Skeens, and probably not bringing them back on 3 days rest. And if you do bring them back on 3 days rest, like Chase Dolander, he could come back on Thursday and pitch, which that would be technically 2 days rest, but he also threw 58 pitches.
yeah,
So, and if Chase were to come back and like start on Thursday, he's not coming back and throwing 100 pitches.
just a little bit.
He's right. He'd probably throw about 60 pitches again. So every guy's different. As Will Heflin and I were actually talking about this on the Diamond Vols podcast last night, which is posted as well. And once Swain and I wrap up here in about 30 minutes or so, would encourage you to go listen to that. Talking about nerding out over baseball earlier. Will and I nerded out over pitching strategies and all sorts of different things last night in the middle of the night. And we were kind of discussing arm recovery, and I was asking him because obviously he went through it as a college pitcher, and I kind of was messing with him because he sat low 90s, upper 80s, and I was messing with him like his arm doesn't recover or need the recovery time that a Chase Dolander or Paul Skeens does. But he reminded me quickly that the effort used to throw his 91 mile per hour fastball is the same effort that Chase Burns and Paul Skeens are using to throw their 101 mile an hour fastball. So it's a couple days rest for sure. Every guy's different, and the roles in which they play and pitch in dictate rest and recovery time. But you certainly want to be smart. And I've talked about it for years. Like Tony Vitello is always going to value the pitching prospect and a kid's future over maybe what's best for Tennessee. Like he's not going to put a young man's arm, especially somebody who has the potential to earn a lot of money and pitch for a very, very long time professionally.
Yeah.
He's not going to sacrifice that for Tennessee's sake, which is unfortunate for Tennessee, but also the right move, and why so many pitchers have trusted Frank Anderson and Tony Vitello is because they know that they're going to take care of them from a physicality standpoint and not abuse their arm like you see some of these college coaches do every single offseason or every single postseason.
Man, let me give some love to a gentleman that, Will Heflin. You mentioned Will Heflin, former Tennessee pitcher. You guys have been doing a great job on Diamond Vols podcast, and we've had him on Josh and Swain a couple times, and him and I were texting back and forth. Even late last night, texting back and forth. Man, he's so fired up. It's really cool to see. But before the Super Regionals, he pointed at Maui Ahuna as being someone that's gonna break through, and he has definitely broke through here at the College World Series on the biggest stage. This is why he transferred from Kansas to Tennessee to play on the biggest stage. Same way, Paul Skeens. I saw his interview there during the game. It was awkward, but anyways, for Maui transfer from Kansas to Tennessee, like playing on the big stage. This is why you come to the SEC. And Maui's had an up and down year, but dude, he has been on it. 3 hits versus Stanford, had a hit against LSU, and timely hit. So he's seen the ball well, looks like, Ben.
Oh, he absolutely is. And Maui Ahuna is a decisive topic amongst Tennessee fans. and I really try not to talk down to people. I really try not to. Swain knows me. I don't do that. But I don't know what to tell you. It's the Josiah Jordan-James conversation all over again. If you think Maui Ahuna is a bad baseball player and should not be in the lineup, then I don't know what you're watching. Like you've lost your mind, quite frankly. Maui Ahuna is playing really, really good baseball right now, and he's been playing really good baseball for the last month and a half. Does he strike out too much? Yes, absolutely. He strikes out far too much. He has a lot of swing and miss in his swing, and if he wants to sustain a career at the next level, that's something that he is going to have to work on. But just because he strikes out a ton doesn't mean that he's still not being productive. And yes, again, the strikeouts are an issue, but it seems like he's playing worse than it actually is because he's actually not getting out any more than the rest of his teammates. I mean, outside of Christian Moore and Jared Dickey, I mean, he's getting on base as much as those guys. It just doesn't seem like it because when Maui does get out, he's striking out.
Yeah.
Like Christian Moore and Jared Dickey, like Christian Moore, he was 0 for 4 yesterday, pop up, ground ball, things of that nature. It's not a strikeout every time like it is Maui most of the time. And again, he's got to correct that issue for him if he wants to have a successful, sustainable career at the next level. But he's drawing a lot of walks. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, and I'd love to compile the numbers at some point the last month and a half to close out the season. But his on-base percentage is high. He's getting on base with walks. He's seeing a lot of pitches. He's getting hits. He's had timely hits in the Clemson Regional, in Hattiesburg. He had the home run the opposite way to give Tennessee an insurance run. He's the one that produced, with the help of Christian Scott, produced Tennessee's first run off of Paul Skeens and kind of helped spark that 8th inning after Christian Scott doubled. Maui Ahuna singles back up the middle. He has a 3-hit game yesterday. I mean, he became just the second Tennessee leadoff hitter to have 3 hits in a College World Series game. Tennessee's played in 20 College World Series, and he and Chris Burke, a guy named Chris Burke, who's kind of good at, I think that guy's pretty good at baseball. Him and Maui are the only 2 Vols to have 3 hits as a leadoff hitter in a College World Series game. And I just spent the last 3 or so minutes talking about what he's doing offensively. He's been a vacuum defensively on the other side. And he's had some terrific base running moments as well, scoring from first in the Clemson Regional and the Hunter Ensley double to give Tennessee the lead in the 14th inning against Clemson. He got thrown out at the plate last night or yesterday afternoon in that first inning. But you and I were texting, and
man, it was funny, man. Like
it was funny.
In the moment, I was like,
it wasn't funny, but it was funny.
Yeah, like it's funny now, but like in the moment, I was like, dude, the catcher caught the ball. I was just waiting on you. Like, really? Really? I mean, you're not gonna even make me try to tag you down low. Really? You try to tag up on this? And I was like, Ben, what is going on? And we had a nice conversation about it. But I thought it was hilarious yesterday after the game. But during the game, I was like, come on, man. What are we doing out here?
Yeah, that was unfortunate. And to me, in my opinion, and I probably need to go back and watch this aspect of the replay. I've seen the throw, and also shout out to Alberto Rios for Stanford, that left fielder. I was as impressed with him yesterday as any player I've seen all season. I mean, what he does at the plate and then what he does in the field with his arm out in left field, he was just ultra impressive. But I'd like to go back and see kind of what Maui Ahuna was looking at, because you're taught to listen to your third base coach in those situations. You're taught not to turn around and look for the ball. Maybe you do slightly, but you're mostly listening for your third base coach to tell you when to tack up, when the ball hits the mitt of the outfielder. And honestly, off the bat, I thought it was deep enough to drive him in. I was stunned that the the pop up ended up being so shallow because the wind was bringing it back in, and then at that point the momentum of the left fielder was going towards home plate. I think Josh Elander would agree with this. Like he probably should have recognized in the moment that it ended up being shallower than it probably looked like it was going to be off the bat, and probably should have held up Maui there, especially knowing the arm that Rios has in left field. But to me, that wasn't as on Maui as maybe social media wanted it to be. But my overall point, Swain, is like if you think Maui Ahuna is a liability, then I don't know what to tell you. And is he a traditional leadoff hitter? No, but Tennessee also doesn't have a traditional leadoff hitter on its lineup. Maybe Hunter Ensley or Christian Scott could be, but at this point you don't really want to mess with them, in my opinion. But Maui Ahuna is playing great baseball, and people who are fans of the team that the kid plays for need to start recognizing that and giving him the respect that he deserves instead of trying to throw him under the bus every opportunity that they get.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing that goes on. But I wanted to make sure that Maui gets some of them flowers, man, because he has bounced back and he's playing some damn good baseball right now. So if you're gonna point out the bad, you gotta point out the good when the good is happening right there in front of you, and it is for Maui. Tennessee football, right quick, and then we got to bounce back to baseball because, hey, they're a team right now chasing a championship it's close. Tennessee gets a win versus LSU. You said it. Tennessee's in the Final Four of college baseball, and that's very, very significant. But for Tennessee football, Boo Carter commits to Tennessee. Boo Carter, number one player in Tennessee. Tennessee able to seal the deal with him, getting his commitment Saturday. Does it mean that it's over? No, it's never over. There's players on your team right now. You still got to recruit to keep them on campus. So it's not over, but we'll discuss Tennessee getting Boo Carter. Then we will get back to Tennessee baseball. They take on LSU tonight. Ben McKee, you get enough sleep? You ready to go?
I did not get enough sleep last night.
Awesome.
At some point today, I will be catching a nap.
That means you are ready to go. Ben McKee, GoVols 247, Jason Swain. I'm live from the Low T Center studio. Be right back.
Just because you can't call in doesn't mean that you have to sit on the sideline. Impact the show with a text box. It's part of the free Swain Event app.
Guys, let me talk to you here. If you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments for just $155 a month cash pay, or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near a Low T Center or you need the convenience of an at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started on treatment. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare. Dead End Barbecue has you covered when you need the food to be on point for your next event. Go to deadendbbq.com to learn more or call 865-414-9417. Dead End Barbecue, the catering search is over.
Hey there, Swain Event crew. Just like fall sports, the Knoxville area real estate market is strong and growing stronger. We're an everything region. When you get the big orange itch to buy, sell, or invest, call me, Jennifer Morris with Keller Williams Realty at 865-257-7897 or email me at jennifermorris865@gmail.com. Go Vols!
Looking for a different way to enjoy the show?
Yes.
Then check out Swain Event TV on YouTube.
Let's go. Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. Top 100 barbecue restaurant. Ben McKee, GoVols 247. I'm live from the Low T Center studio. Weather there in Omaha. It's beautiful from the television. It's been beautiful here, except for the last couple of hours with thunderstorms. But temperatures are coming back. High temperatures are coming back. And this is the time. If you, homeowner, if you know you need a replacement on your HVAC unit, this is the time to do it because Hiller, awesome promotion going on right now. Do not wait until your air conditioning unit breaks down. You get a free UV light and free electronic air cleaner when you buy select new HVAC systems here at Hiller. Also, whole home water filtration is just $59 a month. For $139 a month, new whole home generator. Make sure you call Hiller's Heatwave Heroes to save the day. Call them to book. Hiller's work is backed by their Happy You'll Be or Service is Free guarantee. Hiller offers real-time online booking. Select the appointment time that works for you. Get instant confirmation. I had Hiller buy a house 2 weeks ago, making sure my AC unit, HVAC unit was ready to go. This is going to be hot this summer. More details, visit my friends online, happyhiller.com. Ben McKee. Tennessee finally gets the commitment of Boo Carter. He made this announcement on Saturday. They're in New York City. Ben, on Friday, I was doing a show, Sports Animal, Joshua Swain, and Kevin Simon was with me, former Tennessee linebacker, and I peeped a little bit of game here. I saw where a Michigan target on Wednesday, Thursday, had announced that he was going to make his announcement on Friday, and he was going to do it in L.A., and this is Marion Stewart. And I was like, wait a minute. So Boo Carter has announced for a long time that he was going to make his announcement on Saturday and do his in New York City. Boo Carter went to Michigan for an official visit. A lot of Tennessee fans are kind of freaking out. Then Boo comes to Knoxville immediately after the Michigan visit, leading up to the Saturday announcement. And I was like, okay, I think Tennessee's in a good spot. But I noticed that this athlete around the Chicago area, Illinois area, had 4 schools in his Final Four that he was going to choose from when he makes his announcement a day before Boo Carter. Michigan was obviously one of those schools, but Tennessee was another one of those schools. I was like, wait a minute, man. Tennessee ain't even recruiting this young man. They're not even recruiting this young man. Oh, I see what it is. And Ben, you remember during the Bush Jones time when a lot of the recruiting was done with perception in mind. You wanted your fans to believe that something is going on in recruiting, that recruiting is on fire. And when Tennessee maybe lost out on a player, word started to travel like, yeah, well, Tennessee kind of backed off. Tennessee's the one that backed off. It wasn't the other way around. Well, I look at Michigan getting a commitment from Marion Stewart a day before Boo Carter was done, and this is my opinion here, to calm down the Michigan fans that were probably going to freak out once Boo Carter picked Tennessee. And that's what happened. They picked him on, Boo Carter picked Tennessee on Saturday. But this is a big old get for Tennessee in-state. He's in Cleveland, Tennessee, in Chattanooga area. He's at Bradley Central, but the dude is phenomenal, man. This is a big get for Tennessee, Ben.
It is, and that's a recruitment that had plenty of curveballs. We've been talking about curveballs all morning long, and Boo Carter's recruitment certainly had plenty of them for Tennessee's coaching staff. And before I give my thoughts on Boo Carter, since I did mention curveballs, I will say that Jennifer Morris wanted me to pass along that she may not throw curveballs in real estate, but she will body bump someone to get any client to the closing table and to the finish line. So if you're in the Knoxville area and looking for a new home or knew anything in the real estate market, be sure to reach out to Jennifer Morris of Keller Williams Realty. She will certainly get the job done for you, just like Tony Vitello will, chest bumping umpires. But yeah, Boo Carter's a really nice pickup for Tennessee, and I know we always kind of joke about good get, but Boo Carter is really a good get for Tennessee, and a commitment that Tennessee should absolutely land. He's right down the road. The fact that Michigan had as much confidence as they did, given the fact that he's only an hour and a half from Knoxville, I thought was interesting. And Boo Carter loved the recruiting game, does love the recruiting game. Was feeling Dion in Colorado there for a minute in the spring, and there's been Michigan, there's been other schools, but at the end of the day, it's a nice pickup for Tennessee because the kid is just a freakish athlete. I mean, just an absolute playmaker on both sides of the ball. Seems like a lot of schools were recruiting him to play on offense, whether it be running back or receiver, but seems like Tennessee wants him as a defensive back. And to me, it doesn't really matter which side of the ball he is on. He's just a natural-born playmaker and a good football player. And Tennessee needs more of those type of guys if it's going to get over the hump and win a championship. So, yeah, he's down the road, but still a nice commitment to kind of put up the wall and put the lock on him with him being down the road and not allow him to get out of the state of Tennessee and beat out some good schools for him, because the kid is a really, really talented natural playmaker. And again, Tennessee needs more of those guys.
Tennessee locking down Boo Carter, in-state player. He made his commitment known on the 17th on Saturday. So Tennessee continues to recruit well. I did see where Florida brought in a 5-star. I got a commitment from a 5-star, but I'm sorry. I need to see a little bit more of Florida before I even blink an eye at what they're doing. But Tennessee right now overall ranked, according to 247 Sports, is at 13, and Tennessee is in for a lot of really, really good players. After that, 865 live event.
And I think Tennessee will continue to have a nice week on the recruiting trail as well, following the commitment of Boo Carter.
Yeah, I think so as well. Had a nice weekend this past weekend too. So we'll keep an eye out there with Tennessee football recruiting. But back to baseball, back to Tennessee baseball, LSU tonight. Man, Jared Dickey,
dude, it is so fun to watch him hit right now. He's a professional hitter playing college baseball. I mean, he really is.
So we watched a professional pitcher pitching in Paul Skeens, but we're watching a professional hitter playing college baseball in Jared Dickey.
Yes, and keeping with the theme of nerding out with kind of what Tennessee is doing on the baseball field, I mean, what Jared Dickey has done the last couple of weeks, it isn't really hitting for power in terms of hitting home runs or even really tallying extra base hits. I mean, he's had an extra base hit or two here and there, but the clutch hits that he has had all throughout this tournament have been incredible. I mean, he's had 3, 4, 5, 2-run, 2-out singles back up the middle to give the momentum back to Tennessee or shift the momentum into Tennessee's favor, tie the game, make it a close game, give them the lead. And it's seeing a ton of pitches and this at bat, that at bat, and pushing Tennessee over the edge. And it's really incredible to watch him hit and just be a professional up there. And he's a professional hitter because he's making adjustments mid at bat. That's when a hitter is really feeling it. When he can choke up with 2 strikes and get the barrel to the baseball and make something happen, that's when you know that he's playing well. So it's really fun to watch Jared Dickey hit right now.
You got a player to watch for today?
Jared Dickey.
That's him. He's him, right?
Yes. Tennessee's offense should take advantage of LSU's pitching situation. I think it would be a massive disappointment if they cannot. And again, the guys that LSU tried out there, they have a lot of natural talent. They just haven't quite pieced it together as a whole. But it's a situation that Tennessee should take advantage of, in my opinion. And I think Jared Dickey, with the way he's swinging the bat, is primed to do so. Christian Moore, Maui Ahuna, Hunter Inslee, so many of those guys. Zane Denton was awesome yesterday, kind of quietly. Had a couple of singles, but they were big singles to kind of spark Tennessee. So I would be very disappointed if I'm a Tennessee fan if Tennessee doesn't take advantage of LSU's pitching situation. But Swain, before we get out of here, I wanted to ask you earlier in the show, before we started talking about some other baseball topics, and you mentioned it right off the top of the bat, but just how important it was for Tennessee to get a win in Omaha.
Yeah.
It's not the ultimate goal, but it's huge for this program to check that box along the way to try and get to a championship series final. That's the next goal. And then eventually win a national championship. I don't think it's participation trophy-ish to recognize that finally getting a win in Omaha. Tony Vitello's first ever at Arkansas. He did not win a game in Omaha. They went 0-2 when he came with Arkansas. He was 0-2 in 2021, lost to LSU the other night. So first win of the Tony Vitello era in Omaha, and also Tennessee's first in 22 years. It had been since 2001 that Tennessee won in Omaha. Chris Burke's team beat Miami, if I remember correctly. So like that was significant for the program, in my opinion, because the tone and the conversation from people outside of Knoxville would have been pretty loud about, oh, yeah, Tony Vitello can get to Omaha, but he can't win in Omaha. So to at least get one of them, I think was a very nice stepping stone. And I don't think that's at all trying to give anybody a participation trophy.
That's right. That's right. When you win, there's you can throw the whole participation trophy stuff out when you win. And there's always a process. Like there's a process to win big. You don't go from zero to hero overnight. And I think people forget that. Like there's a process. The Denver Nuggets went through that process. They're world champions, but they lost in the conference finals. They lost, had some failures that helped make them the team that they are to go out and win a championship this year. And so the 98 championship team, like they lost years before and they got closer. They took steps in the right direction, and then they finally broke through. So there's steps, man. There's steps. All right. Vol Storm says blank LSU. Jeffrey Moore said this means you have to go to the grocery store and shop again if the Vols are down today. He started a superstition. I'm not planning on going back to the grocery store for a couple weeks because they put a dent in the pockets. West Tennessee Vol, there's a reason Vol Twitter isn't getting paid the big bucks to coach. Tony V has done just fine. LC Vol, is there anything to the rumors of LSU tampering with Burns and offering him big NIL money? I don't know. Vol fan, Ben, do you know?
No.
Vol fan, LSU went all in on winning the game yesterday by throwing their two remaining best guys. The winner's bracket would have allowed them to use Skeens again to win 102. Now that they are in the loser's bracket, they would need to win 3 straight and only have Skeens if they made it to the Thursday. 44 Vol says, Ben, is Zach Joyce available to pitch?
Yes, Zach Joyce is available to pitch. Had that injury scare midway through the season, but he's healthy from my understanding and is available. And that's a good point. Going back to that last message, Swain, last night, Wake Forest beating LSU was a great thing for Tennessee because exactly what the message said. You're probably not winning 2 straight against LSU because one of those games would involve Paul Skeens. You just want to avoid Paul Skeens at all costs, and you're not going to face Paul Skeens. Like you have a picture-perfect opportunity. I think Tennessee beats LSU today. I don't think Tennessee gets past LSU if they have to get past Paul Skeens again. And look, Wake Forest is going to be really, really difficult to get through these next 2 games if Tennessee wins tonight. They are so good in so many ways, but avoiding Paul Skeens was huge because I think Tennessee beats LSU tonight, like I just said, because if they did face Paul Skeens, I don't think that they're winning that game. And that's nothing against Tennessee. It's just everything to do with Paul Skeens and how incredible he is.
All right, back to the text box. Fall fans are happy to get to face LSU's bullpen, but sometimes I think that can be harder. Our offense has been good at making adjustments to a pitcher the second or third time through the order. If you see a new pitcher every at bat, you don't get a chance to adjust. Hope we can jump on them early and shake the LSU confidence.
And that's a great point, and a point that Will Heflin made on the Diamond Vols podcast last night. Now, I also threw the other aspect and the positive aspect of that for Tennessee. The good news is that this isn't Wake Forest and you're facing them for the first time all season. And I know Tennessee and Wake Forest technically played an exhibition in the fall, but this is the 5th game against LSU. They're not going to be throwing anybody that they haven't thrown or haven't seen all season. They're going to see the guys that are on the mound for LSU, and there's going to be a familiarity to where they should know what to expect, and I think that'll help them. As again, it's kind of Johnny Holstaff, where LSU's going to piece it together, and that can prevent at times offenses getting into rhythms. Mm-hmm. But I think for Tennessee, at least they've already seen the guys that will be throwing tonight. And again, LSU's going to have to rely on several guys to be on tonight, and it just takes one guy being off to allow a big inning, and that change the outcome in the course of the baseball game.
Vol in Birmingham, does Maui have the ability to come back? He is a great defensive player. He just needs to improve some at the plate. So we know that the whole plan for him was like a one and done in basketball, was to get here and then go straight to the NBA. Maui, heading into this season, we felt like that was his goal. 1 year here, then going to the majors, or going pro. Do you see that still taking place, or possibility he can come back?
He can come back eligibility-wise, but I'd be surprised if he is back. I think he's drafted, signed, and playing pro baseball next year.
Vol Girl in Kentuckyville says, it's so great listening to you and Ben this morning. Both of you are such professionals and fun to listen to. Happy that you and Ben can reconnect like this from time to time. Every Tuesday and Thursday, 8 to 9-ish. T-Money was Omaha. T-Money want to know about, I guess, you dropping it like it's hot with your backpack on. I don't think you're doing that right now.
No, that is end of season evening. If Tennessee season comes to an end, those are the evening festivities.
Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. Ben McKee, covering Tennessee baseball live from Omaha. Ben has been on the show last 3 times, I want to say from 3 different states. And so we appreciate you, man, giving people what they want at this time of the year. And we'll reconnect on Thursday, and hopefully we are talking about Tennessee playing again.
Yes, I hope so. And you're right. I think the last 3 states have been Alabama, New York, really 4 states, because I was driving up to Nashville when we did last Tuesday's show, and I was in Alabama and Tennessee in the midst of that show. So it's been 4 states: Alabama, Tennessee, New York, and Nebraska. Hopefully I'll still be in Nebraska on Thursday when we reconvene.
I hope so. Tennessee, LSU, let's go. Can they get the win? LSU so far this week, or this year, they own the series. LSU 3 wins, Tennessee with 1, but this is the one that matters the most. 7 p.m., Tennessee, LSU. For Ben McKee of Go Vols 247, I'm Jason Swain. We hope you have a fabulous Tuesday. Peace and love. We are out.